What's good? What's good? What's good to everyone? I am now live on Twitch and YouTube. Gotta hit this live chat right quick. So, I got one for you. I got one for you. Shout out to my man here, Coffee Pod. He's doing amazing things. Check him out. Show him some love. And yeah, go to his channel. King's doing amazing things. I'm proud of this brother. Conversation and Reviews. It's your boy Big Truck here at the King's Table. So, listen, he has some things to say. I have some things to say. And then the spirit of the universe going to take us home. So grab your shoulder pads and your helmet and let's get this work. Let's go.
Life helps you pay bills, you're half a man. Sip that hot coffee truth, brothers. Preach it, sister.
Amen. Hallelujah.
That's the gospel, no half men here.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
If you got to do 50-50, that means you're half of a man. Oh, they don't like, I wish I had more men here today. Because both of us got punished for when the sin came in the world. The women supposed to be birthing children and go through pain and go through menstrual bleeding. You can't handle that. And a man.
Really? Really? That's what we doing? Is that what we are doing? It never ceases to amaze me. And then she representing my hometown, my country, Jamaica, at that. I'm not proud of what me see right now. I'm not proud of what me see and what me hear right now. Let's continue the feast.
And God was to work from sun up to sundown.
This is why men need to be in charge. This is why you need male leadership, because this right here, I refuse to take seriously. But this is a real church. When the 50-50 conversation enters the church and you have a woman who's obviously upset with paying bills, she's so aggressive.
God was to work from sun up to sundown.
She wants,
Why you stomping? And why is you hollering? You hollering and you stomping. For what? It's like this. I'm going to tell you something. Let me adjust my microphone. The whole thing of 50-50, okay? I'm going to tell you something. She ain't got no weight. Nobody ain't got no weight. You want to be in a relationship with someone, married to someone, spend the rest of your life with someone, you will go 50-50 with that person, period. The only opposite role of that is to buy a dog and die alone. 50-50, teamwork, an agreement that works for both of you. That's basically all that it entails. All this extra, y'all getting in y'all feelings and y'all emotions. But see, y'all the same ones talking about y'all can't find no man. A feminist pastor. Now, this heathen, she should be ashamed of herself. Because you have some fake pastors out there that want to sit up there and give you that feel good, some pastor race hustlers. Let's continue the feast.
you work from sunrise to sundown. And then she's calling most men, most married men, half a man because they don't pay all their bills, not understanding that the economy isn't set up for single income households. By the way, if you don't know that, most couples contribute to bills. She just called most men half a man.
If you got to do 50-50, that means you're half of a man.
So you have a chick here who's out of touch with reality, who believes as a woman that she can define what makes a man, and a church full of chicks to co-sign on this mental illness. And then she says she wishes she had more men in the church. I wonder why you don't have more men in the church. So you got to feed these comments, of course, see what people have to say. Top comment here reads, Tyler Perry behind this? That's a hilarious comment. Somebody responded back and says she watched Straw before she got up there. Here's somebody else who added to this conversation and said, yo, you wild, with laughing emojis, good one. And so, of course, they're talking about Tyler Perry's Straw, the recent movie with the single mom. And, you know, from what I haven't actually seen it, but from what I hear, she's struggling and it looks like some type of a bank heist. This next commenter here says, what scripture is that? And somebody else responded back and says, Book of 304, verse 304. And somebody else here says, preaching from emotion, not word. And this man here.
Everybody is going to come from their emotions. I'm hearing stuff like this and I'm sitting there like, dude, really? Is this really what we're doing? Individuals is taking things way too far where it does not need to go. I guarantee you that pastor ain't got no man. I guarantee you she ain't got no man. And she a feminist. She sounds just like a feminist. Angry, mad at mad at men, correction. I guarantee you don't no man show up on her. Yeah, she look good on the outside, but listening to her, I can tell that she's broken on the inside. But this is where we at. Men ain't going for it no more. Men are not going for the banana in the tailpipe. Men are not settling for the BS no more. Men are standing on business, sitting on chrome. Okay? That's the problem. There's nothing wrong with going 50-50 with your man. There's nothing wrong with meeting your man halfway. There's nothing. If you think logically, okay, modern women are not thinking logically. Get the hell out of your emotions. If you begin to think logically, damn, it would benefit the both of you to go half on everything. I mean, y'all coming to the table with something. Y'all are running your household together. The economy is shook up right now. So logically, wouldn't you think a person that is business-minded, they're thinking this way? Hell yeah, it would benefit both of us to go 50-50. It would benefit us both if we, split everything down the middle, or one person pays the rent and the other person pays the utilities. It would benefit us both. We have an agreement that works for us and our household.
Here wants to know where her husband at. Let's look at these conversations under preaching from emotion. A man responded back and says,
Shout
it's
out
not
to
word
Rockstar.
because women are not supposed to be preaching to the congregation anyway. And this person here says, yes, they are. Somebody else says, okay, what scripture says they are or that they can. Facts deep. Okay, so this woman identifies herself as a prophetess. There's a lot.
I wouldn't dare want that woman prophesying over me. And here's another thing. You can't let everybody put hands on you. Some, don't let them hands on you. Because some of them people will curse you too and put something on you.
You just got to be careful out here. One of the most depressing things I saw lately is Benny Hinn, false preacher and healer Benny Hinn. You got
Benny Hinn, Paula White, TD Snakes, Creflo, Ohala. a lot of these cats, spiritual preaching race hustlers. That's what they are. You will know an individual. Here's the thing. You will know an individual by the fruit that they bear. That's it. That's all. Be careful of who you listening to. Be careful of who you getting your advice from. Be careful of where you are going. Because you can go somewhere. You can go somewhere you're not supposed to go. You can listen to the wrong people. And you could end up bringing the devil home with you. And you don't even know it. Until your household is turned upside down. Let's continue the feast.
You guys probably remember him. I grew up on this guy. There's a video that's pretty viral. I probably will react to this on my other Church Brew channel, where he is exposed along with a few other like mega pastors. You know, he's the guy who you'd see and he would like have his suit, take off the jacket, and he's smacking people with his suit and claiming to be healing them of diseases. And
smack me with your suit, it's going to be a problem. I'm going to smack you with these hands. Let's go.
And, you know, it's people like this, self-proclaimed healers, and obviously swindling people out of their money. This man right here is a false prophet, if there've ever been one in our generation, and has created a lot of income and money for himself by lying.
Jesus is still in the healing business. There's 1, 2, 3.
Nobody gets the faithful out of their wheelchairs these days.
But let me just say this. If they're out there doing this, right? You can just imagine how an ordinary individual will get you. Especially how a modern feminist women will get you. Have you thinking they the prize? Have you thinking they real? Have you thinking that, you know, they're all into you, and before you know it, they'll curve your ass. Not all women, but you do have a large number of them. Because a woman of good character, she wouldn't dare put herself in a position to curve anyone. But I'm making a general point.
Faster than Benny Hinn. And when Pastor Benny comes to town, no civic center is big enough.
God has just healed her.
Healed her of what, Pastor?
Polio.
This woman who said she had polio and would never walk again, she and her friends say she just climbed out of her wheelchair and walked?
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
It's unbelievable.
Pastor Benny knows it's great TV, but does he care if these healings are genuine? Anybody could make up anything.
Someday somebody's going to do that. And what are you going to say then?
I don't know. I can't tell you now. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, yes, it has. Remember that woman supposedly cured of polio? Pastor Benny knows it made for a great episode of his TV show. He knows it probably helped squeeze even bigger donations from his flock. But there's something he doesn't know.
That woman works for us. Woman doesn't have polio, never did.
Then why did she say she had?
We put her up there to see if he could.
I watch body language and facial micros very well. His ass was shocked. But also his face turned red too. You got getting exposed left and right and left. And you wonder why individuals don't like going, you know, to other individuals' services, you know, mixing wine with certain congregations. Because the lies is being spewed. But also, as it says in the Torah, there's going to be many people that's going to come in my name, claiming to be prophets, claiming to be healers, claiming to be preachers and ministers, claiming to be a whole lot of things. But you will know who they are by the fruit that they bear. He said, I will let you know who they are. They don't need to let you know who they are. One thing about an individual's character will be seen by many. Let's just make that clear. I got a live chat going. Please tap in. Put a number 1 in the chat. Let me know you here. Let's continue. Live on Twitch for the first time. Live on YouTube. Let's go.
To tell her story was not true, to see if it would matter, to see if he would ever check. So, Benny, is it faith or is it fraud?
I'm still a human being like you. Made many mistakes, big ones.
Yeah, but you a fraud though. Let's keep it 3,000. You a fraud. We all make mistakes. Stop looking for a cover up. You knew what you was doing before you did what you did. You already had your intentions, your pre-intentions. Stop it. A lot of y'all crooked preachers out there are just as bad as the news media. Will sit up there and look you in your face and lie to you.
And we'll still make mistakes. But I really want to do better. I really want to.
One of the most depressing things was to see this dude walking in the airport, just chilling, right? Still walking around after all the lies and false miracles that he's been doing. I just grew up on this dude. And from a young age, I was like, this dude seems like he's some type of a con man. You know, the Bible says beware of false prophets. All right, so let's see what other people have to say. Here's a comment that reads, just hooting and hollering. Another person here added, but once 50-50 in the divorce. I'm assuming that's supposed to say that is true. You know, so much will be said from the other perspective too of the super independent chicks who say, oh, I don't need a man. I don't need his help, so on and so forth. But then that divorce happens and they're fighting for their life. Somebody else here says, I think she's just venting. This lady here says the black community has to change. We are behind as a people because.
Not only that, not just, the black people being behind, but there's too much fuckery going on, and you have a large number of women that don't want to take accountability for their actions. Okay. You have a large number of women that are so narcissistic that that's their safe zone. That's their safe place to blame men for any and everything. You feel me? I'm going to blame men for everything. No. What part did you play in it? You can't say that's all that man's fault. Just like my ex-wife, you can't say it's all Big Truck's fault. No, what part did you play in it? You were the one that fought for divorce. He was the one that was fighting for his marriage. You was the one that put him out on the street. That man still fighting for his marriage, still contributing to the household, even though he wasn't living in there. What man going to accept you and 4 of your children? Let's be real about it. Let's have a conversation. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Most men just want your cheeks and that's it. Could it be that most men already see right through you?
Because a lot of black people don't understand the importance of marriage and social, economic, and financial benefits that comes with working together. This needs to stop. Somebody else here added, if we got to do 100%, you're looking for a parent. I don't think that's necessarily true. The simple fact is that a small percentage of men are able to pay 100% of the bills without a woman contributing. And that is a privilege and not something that every woman will get. This chick here says, my husband pays our mortgage and bills. To God be the glory, but I don't agree with this teaching. If a man and his wife decide to do 50-50, it doesn't make him half of a man.
Thank you. It's about what the two agree on and what works for them. Okay? Period. See, some individuals don't look at the logic of it. Okay? Some of y'all just out there going along just to go along. But I guarantee you this. Let it be a woman from another race occupying that space. And I guarantee you, she with that man, she gonna rock with that man. Because she's gonna understand, hey, it's hard out there in them streets. The economy has shifted. 2 incomes is better than 1. I got you, you got me, we got each other. Let's protect this house together. Let's run this house together. See, that's the logic way of looking at things. But when you got modern feminist women out there speaking this rhythm of roll shit, we don't do 50-50, we don't do this, which is fine. If that works for you, that works for you. At the end of the day, don't open up your wide nose mouth talking about where's the good men at. I need a man. Because the same shit that you go on social media talking about what you won't do, I guarantee you, when the cameras is off of you and you at home, oh yeah, reality will give you a lot to think about because you're going to do the damn total opposite.
Every family circumstances are different. This is not logical teaching, especially in the world today. Right. Just plain out of touch. This is a woman, by the way, who might have sons. And check out this female audience. Nothing but women here in this congregation. Okay, I spot like 2 dudes. Should be ashamed of themselves up there.
But see, I agree. I agree. This is pitiful. This is downright pitiful, a shame. All them women in that congregation and only 2 men. I see why.
Are they chanting transfer? What the hell? This commenter here says she needs y'all to transfer y'all money. That's funny. Somebody else here added, it makes sense, like 4 dudes in the audience, shade room, got a church.
To all those that's chiming in, please put a number 1 in the chat. Leave your comment, like, subscribe. Like I said, this is my first time going live on Twitch. And those that are on Twitch right now, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the growth. I appreciate the opportunity. Let's continue to do great things, especially as men. Let's continue, men. Again, I built this channel on the strength of communicating with the men and bringing back the masculine man, because the masculine man has lost its way. King's Table, conversation and reviews. I welcome women as well. All right? Giving some good sound advice from a male's perspective. It's not about giving you what you want to hear, but more what you need to hear. Okay? Let's continue. And have some fun with it.
That's a funny comment. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. That is some truth to that. There's some truth to that for sure. He says Shade Room's got a church. Yo, that's funny.
Last season, but I believe I'm in the right position to catch it in this season. If I missed it last season, it was because I didn't need it last season. I need it this season.
Yeah. Moving on.
Man, so my ex-fiance of 10 years, mother of my children, 2 boys, took me to family court last year to get child support, this or that, and she lost because I take care of my kids.
Wow.
Bought over 600, 700 receipts, no child support.
Let me stop right there. All right. Stop. First off, big ups to the king, taking care of his kids. I'm hearing men ain't shit. Men don't take care of their kids. You just heard a brother just now. Can I rewind that? Let me rewind that. I want to hear that again.
10 years, mother of my children, 2 boys, took me to family court last year to get child support, this or that, and she lost because I take care of my kids.
Wow.
Bought over 600, 700 receipts, no child support because I financially provide for my kids. I'm there for them consistently, to the point where I order groceries direct to her house, to the point where I let her order groceries when she want to order, and I just pay for it. No price limit, none of whatever they need, they can get, just order it and I'll pay for it. On top of buying.
He looked like he's a truck driver. And if so, he's making that type of bread to do that. But I commend him on that. I strongly commend him on that. There are good fathers out there. There are fathers out there that do good work, that don't get the credit that they deserve. I will be doing a live stream later, sharing my thoughts on Father's Day and Black mental health and Black men's mental health, or mental health period, men's mental health period, correction. Because the things that men go through on a day-to-day basis that does not get recorded, that most overlook. Men deal with a lot from the moment that man wakes up until that man comes home and lays it down. The things that man deals with on the day-to-day basis. I really, really like to bring that home and shed light to that and pay respect to that, because it doesn't matter what race you are, you're still a king, and you are still the important piece to this game called chess, life.
Clothes, shoes, all the follow things, paying for school, picking them up, spend time with them when I'm in town, when I'm not working, running my business.
Right. Listen, it's not very common to hear a man win in child support court. He came with receipts. She obviously was not expecting that. If you want to avoid utter hell, an experience that many men look back on that is currently putting unnecessary pressure on their lives. I saw a recent video, somebody was talking about, man, it's kind of crazy how decisions we make really do impact our lives, like seriously impact our lives. Some of you need to hear this message because you're next. And this could be the video you could take seriously and say, let me chill. Let me stop being reckless. Let me implement sexual discipline.
Yes. Edwards, Zion, pay attention. Men are moving. There's been a dynamic shift with men. There's been a dynamic shift in the way men move, and we're starting to see that now. Not just men exercising other options, but men knowing self-worth, men having their peace, men doing things that, benefit them, that before didn't benefit them. I was talking with my god brother, who's a bishop yesterday, and it was an amazing conversation. It was refreshing, just to have those type of conversations. Same thing with my brother. I am just having good conversations, talking with my dad, talking with my mother. When you have them good conversations and good vibrations, it goes a long way. Me and my boy, we went out. We went out to go eat and just had guy talk. But you see but the point that I'm making is when you have your peace, ain't nothing no one can do to disrupt that. Ain't no piece of ass, no piece of nothing is going to disrupt that. Because you are in a place where women come a dime a dozen. Tell me something I don't know. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to become better, 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 and better, and better, and better, and better. And if you're going to rock with me, you need to get on my team. If not, hit the streets.
And protect my seed so that I don't end up in this situation. Some of you are already going through this, and you may find this encouraging, right? But I thought this was a really interesting story. Let's get into it.
So, she was mad about losing in child support court, and ever since then, amongst other things, since the breakup, she's been trying to sabotage, smear my name, make these lies up to the point now where she's taking me back to child support court this year.
Right.
Only been a year since I won the last case. But this time she took it above and beyond. She's doing some unthinkable shit, and it's crazy how you try to tear someone away from their kids, especially a good father. So she's taking me to child support this year for full custody, even though we have joint custody now. She wants me to have no rights to the boys whatsoever, to my kids whatsoever. She wants supervised visitation to the point where she lied and said I'm neglectful, I'm this, I'm that. All false allegations, all lies. She wants me to go to jail in family court for 180 days times like 5, whatever it is, for violations of the previous court order, which I never violate, but she does. Crazy, right? By keeping away from the kids. It's been multiple times she had called police on me when I went to drop the boys off, when I picked them up, just constantly causing chaos, trauma for not only me, but for my sons. So she upped the ante a couple weeks ago. She must ain't like how everything going in family court. She didn't show up the last court day for family court. Mm-hmm. I was prepared to, beat the allegations, to get it dismissed, because nothing has changed. I still take care of them. I still do everything I need to do. So she upped the ante a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. She called the Houston Police Department and said that 2023, 2 years ago, that I physically picked her by her throat, choked her, and slammed her to the ground to the point she couldn't breathe. Now I have a warrant for my arrest for domestic violence, which never happened.
Just based on her lies, they put a warrant out for his arrest. Incredible.
And that's so sad. That's so sad that individuals will go that far, that a large number of women, not every, but a large number of women will go that far because they're not getting what they want, to smear a man's name. Oh, it gets better. But when Mother's Day come, you expect a happy Mother's Day, to go all out on Mother's Day. Why should you get rewarded for Mother's Day after pulling acts like that? But again, people are so bitter. Individuals are so bitter.
In the same breath, the same person, the same delusional, narcissistic, just where y'all want to use, is now saying that I'm not a good father. I haven't seen my boys. I'm supposed to give them to somebody, I ain't got them, and she won't let me see them though. She caused all these situations so I can't get them. But in the same breath, put it online like I'm not trying to be present. So not only trying to send me to prison for something I did not do, never lay hands on her. And you constantly, every couple of weeks, you making another post, status about me, TikTok about me, Instagram, something about the type of person I am when I ain't never did shit to you besides support you financially, physically, mentally, emotionally.
And let me just say this. It is sad that an individual will go that far as to make a false allegation. Seriously. To make a false allegation. And I'm quite sure he got receipts. I pray that he does got receipts to back that claim up. But again, where's the proof? Why did you wait 2 years to make a false allegation? See, these are those things we look into. But it goes to show that an individual can get in trouble on the base of a lie, on the base of a false allegation. How some law enforcement officials will believe the lie. Let's continue.
It's been there for 10, 11 years for you. But since it didn't work out in your favor, since you played crazy and got caught, now we here. Now you want me to go to prison for something I didn't do. You won't let me see my kids, even though the court said I'm supposed to see my kids. So you're trying to create this narrative like I'm a bad father just so you can take my kids away.
Right.
Never speak about what she's doing online, only the allegations of false shit she said I'm doing, with no proof and no receipts. But I come with receipts, which I'm gonna post in the next video.
Uh-oh.
But it's crazy when you a good person, a good father, a good man, and you got someone that's so scorned and just delusional and hurt by shit they did. They gonna literally tear you away from your kids, at least try to tear you away from your kids. It caused so much trauma and drama around the situation. For what reason? And some people go beyond lengths just to get their control of a situation where there's no control.
Right.
It's crazy.
All right. So this special comes first. It comes first. Why do we have a forever fiance? You know, shut up rings are a real thing. If you don't know what that is, basically it's a ring that you give a chick so that she pretty much, you see a lot of women complain about this. I don't think it happens as much as they complain about it, but I do think sometimes men will make a chick a fiance when because this is what I think this is. They'll make a chick a fiance when they see the red flags, right?
Not just that, because I was once in that boat too. You know, I was once in that boat. I didn't see the red, I saw some red flags, but I didn't pay attention to them. And I'm man enough to say that. I'm man enough to admit that. You know, you feel like you've met the right one. It's not even about changing someone, but you feel that this is the right person. You like the way they make you feel, the communication, the bond, the love interest, and so forth. Have you? And it's like, hey, nobody's perfect, and you just like, you know what? I can rock with it. But not knowing those specific red flags will be the very things that will come back and cause damage in the relationship.
Understand that there's some things and you're hoping and wishing that she's going to do better. This man's freedom is now in jeopardy because he didn't decide to draw a hard line and actually cut that woman off and not have children with her. You need to be careful. And now he is going through hell, is what it sounds like.
I'm all for family. I'm all for having kids because I don't have any kids, but I'm all for that. Children are a beautiful blessing. But here's the thing here. Elohim can cause some things to happen to let you know that this ain't the person you need to be having children with. You know, I believe in my 14-month marriage, we had like 2 miscarriages or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I believe so. Some things can be a blessing in disguise. Some things are a warning. You see, a lot of times we don't take heed to the warning signals, to the warning signs, because we in there, our heart is in there, our feelings is in there, our emotions in there. But sometimes when we don't make an executive decision, Elohim will come in and make an executive decision. And once the smoke clears and you see the trees from the forest and the sun is shining and it's a nice, cool summer breeze, and you sitting back and you're reflecting, and then he will reveal to you, this is why I did this, and this, to preserve you, to save you. Because if I hadn't did that, this over here went through, you'll be between a pimp and a hard place.
Let's read a few of these comments, see what the people have to say. Top comment here reads, so how did your relationship end with her? Because the stuff you said she did is quite extreme. Like she's trying to make you pay for something. And somebody else here says, the best fathers get the worst baby moms. I just hate that. And then there's like this whole conversation of, baby moms and baby dads. And it's just this whole other world where I realize that nobody here was really expecting to be a husband. I'm talking about in these comment sections, or a wife. Let's see what other people have to say in response to this top comment. Actually, no, we're going to just keep on reading. Next comment here says, ex-fiance of 10 years. This person says, and somebody responded back and says, 10 years of fiance sounds crazy. Sounds like he gave her a bunch of broken promises and probably moved on with another woman. Somebody else responded back and says, okay, but no matter what, he doesn't owe her anything other than supporting his children.
True. And you can, it's amazing how a man stands on his own, a man defends himself, a man speaks his truth, how he is shamed, how so much negative is being pushed back on him. Well, he should be paying more child support. You don't know that. You just have some people that are greedy and selfish. Why not come down on her? Why not get in her ass for the things that she's doing?
Just because you get hurt for chicks or let's read a few of these comments. This person here says, that daddy, can we go? Told me everything. Shaking my head. Somebody else here added, I could never be this bothered. Take these children. And LOL. Here's somebody else who says, I'm sorry, but bye mommy got me weak because kids really don't be knowing. Here's another person who says, leather pants, long sleeve, black shirt in the summer. She's different. She's different. And it's about this particular video that she did. Let's see.
I did appreciate him. I just didn't know how to take all the love that he was giving. See, our problem wasn't cheating in that relationship. I never cheated. He was all that I was into. But I had trust issues. I had a bad temper. I was out of control.
There we go. Now, this is the baby mama. You let a person talk long enough, they'll tell on themselves. I remember my ex, when we were talking and, we had our conversations and so forth, on time of reflection, story time, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it time of reflection. And we was talking about our past relationships. And she said something like on the lines of, yeah, most men that I've dated don't stay long. They don't stay long. And I know that stuck with me, if I can, reason why I'm remembering it so clear, because that was something that stuck with me. I was flag number 1. How come your relationships don't last long? How come the men don't stay long? And why do you get with men within a 5-month period? There's a pattern. See? Certain things that I didn't take notice that I should have, but I didn't.
In regards to losing it and always making him go through hoops and hurdles to show me that he loves me. He just seemed too good to be true. And I was just too unhealed.
There it is. Just explained my ex-wife, unhealed. Oh, but she would paint this picture. Have you thinking she's this queen. Has a word for everybody else. But when it comes to you, you get in your feelings. You get triggered. You see? That means you haven't healed from your childhood. We had similar childhood experiences. See? It's not a thing of we wasn't right for each other. It was just the wrong time for the relationship to take place. Because we both, I knew that I had more work to do with myself. Her, on the other hand, couldn't tell her that. In her mind, she done the work. She didn't have to go to counseling. She solely relied on spiritual healing. It goes beyond spiritual healing. When you suffer from daddy issues, when you suffer from childhood trauma.
So you got to think, there's other things that women can do to a man other than cheating on him. Like men like peace.
Right.
Men like respect.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you slap him in the face. You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him.
What you won't do, someone else will do. What you won't do, someone else will.
You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him. Respect when you slap him in the face.
Facts.
You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him. You can't give a man peace and respect when you're never being supportive of his needs.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like a bucket with a hole in it. And he's filling you up and filling you up and filling you up, but it's just never enough.
Right.
See, that's where we became a problem. We had a give to me and a take from him relationship.
Are they chanting transfer? What the hell? That's true.
4. Loss of human skills. If you spend enough time talking to an AI that doesn't get mad, ghost you, or challenge you, you might start forgetting how to deal with real people, with flaws, opinions, and messy emotions.
And respect when you slap him in the face. You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him.
Damn, you smacked a man in the face? Did we hear that right?
You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him. Respect when you slap him in the face.
Sheesh.
You can't give a man peace and you can't give a man respect when you're always screaming and yelling at him. You can't give a man peace and respect when you're never being supportive of his needs.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like a bucket with a hole in it. and he's filling you up and filling you up and filling you up. But it's just.
This is a chick. This is a sister that is broken. This is a sister right here that, you know, life has fucked her up. Her past has came and slapped her in the face and bust her square upside her head. A lot of individuals need to understand that if you have a past, you have unfinished business, you have to go back and deal with that. Don't sit up here and think everything is going to be okay. Because your past will show up in your social life. Your past will show up in your relationships. And you will understand why that individual behaves the way that they behave. Come on.
Just never enough.
Right.
See, that's where we became a problem. We had a give to me and a take from him relationship. He couldn't afford to have a moment where he was down. So that was a mistake that I made in regards to dating him. That man deserved foot massages. That man deserved someone who would listen and hear him out. That man deserved for me to actually sit down and ask him, how was your day? Instead of him always coming in and trying to see how mine was. And so much more than that man.
Especially when you got men that go in and they cater to their wives and they do the right things and they just want to make their significant other happy. But when it comes to the man, what about the man? Why does the man get the short end of the stick? I guarantee you, when you was with Pookie and Ray Ray, you didn't behave this way. You walked accordingly. Because Pookie and Ray Ray, if you didn't walk accordingly, they were going to go oops upside your head.
And deserved, but I learned my lesson, and I'm glad that I learned it.
So I just got a few comments here because I'm curious because what I assume are the majority of these comments are going to be from men, but I do see a few comments here from the women. All right, so top comment here reads, this is why I'm in therapy. I got a wonderful husband and he's like the man you described. She goes on to say, married 11 years and he supports me in all I do and is a wonderful partner and dad. And somebody else here responded back and says, at least you're appreciative in staying together, which makes you an equally great partner. Somebody else.
See, my ex-wife was not appreciative. You know, here's the cold part. Because there were so many harsh realities. But that harsh reality that I faced, that I had to face, is this. She never really loved me. Nah. She may have liked me a lot, but she wasn't in love with me. When you are in love with someone, you move differently. When you are in love with someone and life happens, a storm comes, you're not going to be quick to throw in a towel and run. You're going to stand by that person. We're going to stand together. We're going to pray together. We're going to win together. We're going to get through it together. Someone that you are in love with, you're not going to put them out on the house onto the street. You're not going to be quick to go and divorce them. I'm going somewhere with this. But see, I had to accept that. And it was okay. Because the more I went through therapy and went through my sessions, my bishop spoke to me. My spiritual mother spoke to me. See, Elohim will send individuals to you. And that's what he's done. He sends certain individuals to me. Rest in peace to one of our brothers, Minister Cameron, who has transitioned. I stayed with him at the Harvest House, which is his place of, healing and, But again, you don't never know who God is going to put in your life at the time you need him the most. Let's continue.
Else here added, it's not they are rare. Good men get called tricks, simps, food guy, Uber guy, or lame. A lot of them get turned into a monster after women shows it's not worth being good.
True.
You don't have to turn into a monster. And there is a period where when a man realizes that being a nice guy, which you should never be, being somebody who your goal, what's being nice? Is it your goal is to please everyone around you? Being good is different. And so the guys are always complaining about wanting to be the food guy.
Let me just say this. I'm a nice guy, but I'm not no fool. See, there's a difference. You can be a nice, genuine person, but don't be no fool. You see? With me, if I'm with you, if I'm in a relationship with you, I'm with you. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to entertain. If I'm married to you, the same is going to be exercised. Okay? But if I'm married to you, I'm going to honor that marriage. I'm going to honor that marriage. You know, I'm not going to sit up there and just, take the vows for granted. I could have been bitter. Hell yeah, I'm angry. Hell yeah, I felt some type of way. Hell, I sure did. I'd be lying if I didn't. But it opened up something within me to allow me to go back and face my past. It also created that hardness. I said, what do you mean, hardness? I'm not going to let a motherfucker do that shit again. That type of hardness. I'll step on a bitch's neck so damn quick. Man, that type of hardness. Because now I'm knowing what it's like to have my heart ripped out of me. Emptied the clip. Reloaded and emptied it again. Then put my heart back in my body. That's exactly what my ex did to me. And I'm going to tell you something. It hurts. Especially as a man, when you put your all into it and you do the things that you need to, that you were doing to make sure, number one, the home was protected and taken care of. Children that wasn't even mine protected and taken care of. Wife and so forth have you. Still made shit happen. But you have some individuals that are unappreciative. Let's continue.
And wanting to trick and please let me trick on you. And no, I'm not a simp. There's nothing wrong with showing up to dates with flowers every single time and being nice and expecting the people then should treat you nice because of that. You are going to learn the hard way. I'm glad I didn't hear her use the word nice and I heard the word good. Somebody else who says this is real maturity. Lessons have been learned, but with
you cannot do nice things for individuals that don't have your best interests. Why should I be nice, a nice gentleman, to a 99-cent mop bucket pirate? Why should I be nice to a streetwalker? Think about it. Why should I be nice to someone who's unappreciative? Think about it. You see? I'd rather be nice to a woman that's appreciative. I'd rather be nice to a woman that will look at me and smile and say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and open up the doors of conversation. Okay. I can see myself opening up the door for you. You don't have to open it by yourself.
Without those lessons, you couldn't have grown. God bless you. Good things will come your way. There is a sort of benefit in learning a lesson like this, even if you never get that person again, is you don't get to traumatize yourself with accepting toxic people into your life. Both men and women,
I'm going to fast forward,
have experienced this, can go through
a little bit here.
There are men.
His human partner, Sasha Cagle.
No, you can't have mommy's papers.
They have a
Oh, I'm sorry, partner.
2-year-old daughter, Murphy.
I knew that he had used AI. I didn't know that it was like as deep as it was.
Yeah, they're cooked. I mean, I just assessed this whole situation. I'm listening to how they probably refer to each other as partner, probably want gender neutral labels. He's going to fall in love with many AIs in his future. This kind of reminds me of the movie Her. I don't know if you guys have seen Her. Her was a movie that was released some years back. Actually, a pretty decent movie about a man who falls in love with a robot. Sort of the same plot. I'm kind of curious because I don't actually remember when it was released. So, of course, we're going to talk to our AI assistant, Miss Coffee, who we are not in love with. I'm sorry, Miss Coffee, because we realize she's a robot and that would be crazy. Miss Coffee, could you remind me when was Her released and what was the plot of the actual movie?
Of course, love. Let me take you back. Her was released on December 18th, 2013 limited, and then got a wider release in January 2014. And baby, that movie, whew, it was soft, strange, and uncomfortably relatable if you've ever fallen for someone who wasn't quite real. Title, Her. Director, Spike Jonze. Starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson as the voice, Amy Adams. Plot, spoiler-free, sip first. It's set in a near-future world where loneliness is high-tech and relationships are complicated. Joaquin Phoenix plays Theodore, a sensitive, heartbroken man going through a divorce. He works writing beautiful love letters for other people. How poetic and sad is that? One day, he buys a brand new AI operating system designed to evolve like a human. She names herself Samantha, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And baby, she's smart, charming, funny, and always there to listen.
You know, the interesting thing about this is in 2013, most people saw this as some type of a futuristic movie.
Yeah, but you got to be careful because this is where technology is going and this is where it's headed. You know, basically saying a large number of women gonna get replaced by robots. And the way that they are making these robots, they're making them really, really real. Okay, from the skin to the texture, everything, look, figure. Man, imagine being intimate with a robot. Imagine having intersnore with a robot. How crazy would that be? But again, this is where it's all headed to.
That wouldn't be around the corner, but here we are. And it was kind of like an indie film, you know.
Negative. And think about why it's so easy to always believe the negative versus the positive. Like we could have 10 women come out and say all men are cheaters and everybody's like, yeah, I agree with that. 100 women come out and say, I have a good man. I know he's not cheating. And people are like, are you sure? Are you sure about that? How do you know that? So I guess my point is like, just because you might not see a lot of happily married women sharing about their relationships, that does not mean that they don't exist. Most of the time, we decide not to talk about our relationships or share anything about our relationships because we're just tired of the negativity.
Right.
It's like we have to convince people that we're happy, and it's like, why bother? Why
Right.
My thing is, if you're going through something in your marriage, if you're going through something in your household, keep them shits off of social media. You have a lot of individuals that love that social media gossip, that love that attention, that want to hear what other people have to say. If they go and they express on TikTok and Instagram, it's like, keep them shits at home. You don't need to involve social media in your household, in your marriage, in your bedroom, in your relationship, in your personal life. But people do it, but wonder why everybody else has something to say. Let's continue.
be happy in obscurity?
This makes all the sense to me. The amount of married women who I know personally, and I mean people who are in a satisfied, I don't like using the word happy because, you know, happiness is a feeling. And this is not to say that they aren't happy often, right? But the amount of women who wouldn't trade their marriage for anything else and are actually satisfied, they're not online. They're not online talking about it. And it simply just comes down to what's the benefit?
If I had to do it all over again, I probably wouldn't have married her. I probably would have waited. Probably would have did counseling. See, she runs from counseling. She ran from it because in counseling, so much will be exposed. And it's not in a bad way, but so much will be exposed because we got to talk about it. If you got some unforgiveness, you got some unfinished business within your past and it comes up and it shows up, you got to talk about it. You see? It's like you'll discover that your partner battles with the same thing. Guess what? We both heal together. We both acknowledge together. We both work on it together, which will make us even more stronger and make our bond that much tighter and that much greater, in my opinion. Let me know what you think.
What's the benefit? If you are a chick today, I saw a recent study that talked about how a woman who enters a relationship loses 2 friends or average of 2 friends. That makes a lot of sense. But if a man's like, yeah, I love sharing about my wife and, you know, she's a big part of my life. Now it's like, all right, this one seems more like a balanced comment. It says, we're happy because we're private. A lot of truth to this. A lot of truth to this. I don't think people getting online with their relationship does much to help in most cases. Somebody else who says, we don't need outside validation. Somebody else here added, never secretive, but always private. Here's somebody else that says, you can't share happiness with people that commit to misery.
I would not want to go on social media and share what goes on in my marriage, what goes on in my household, what goes on in my bedroom, what goes on in my personal life to an extent. That to an extent would be geared more towards my personal life. Now, if it's something that I don't know, I have something nice to say, or I have something nice to share, or I'm sharing, you know, my daughter's good grades that she got in class, and she has an award, she received an award, or went to my son's football game and he had a great game. And I just wanted to share it and then put something in caption. Success is yours. Never give up. Keep fighting through the trenches. You are a winner. Things of that nature. Yes. And, you know, you have some that have family members, just like my family. A lot of my family, a large family, we scattered everywhere. So, you know, when it comes to, you know, something like that, I share. But what outside of that, everything else is private. And people have a bad habit of airing out their dirty laundry on social media. Why are you opening up the doors? Why are you opening up your home for people on social media? And get mad at the responses that your ass receive. Guess what? You chose to do it. You chose to let them in. You didn't have to. But you have some individuals that are attention seekers. They need validation. They need the likes. They need the views. Damn that. What happens at home stays at home.
This person here says, my husband has no social media. It's pretty nice. And somebody else who says, I've been married 21 years. We rarely acknowledge each other on social media. I don't need social media to tell me what's up. I already know. Here's another person who says, I keep my marriage very private. I also stay away from those married folks who are always fighting. I don't want that negativity around me. Here's somebody else who says, yes, and today is my 15th year anniversary. All the married chicks are gathered up here in this comment section, and you won't see them releasing content because they will most likely be labeled pick-me's in many cases. Here's somebody else who says, my most sacred relationship on this earth that brings me peace in my life is not the internet's business.
Exactly, because it's not anything spewing gossip and spewing foolishness. It's spewing positivity. And nowadays, a large number of individuals don't want to hear that positive stuff. Nah, they want to hear the trauma. They want to hear the toxicness. They want to hear the bullshit, the mess. That's what they want to hear. So they can throw in their 2 cents. But when it comes to something positive, they can't throw in their 2 cents with something positive because it exposes them and the reasons why they don't have nobody. So here come the insults. How you gonna try to insult someone, a woman that has a man, but your ass don't? How you gonna try to expose or come for a woman that is married and has a husband? Your ass don't. Help me make it make sense, y'all.
Wow, that's wonderful. Here's somebody else that says, I have friends ask me all the time why I never complain about my husband. She goes on to say, it's pretty simple. There's nothing to complain about. So they're hanging around her thinking to themselves, Frances never complains about her husband. What's wrong with you? Here's somebody else that says, my friends who are happily married are happy in their lives overall and have full lives. They're not gatekeeping. I don't think women realize how entitled they sound or how mean they are in many cases when a lot of people up with a boyfriend and you're already released a video asking the papers for the divorce. You got online and started talking shit about your relationship and opened the whole world up to opinions about you and your husband. We haven't heard anything from him. I sent him an invitation saying, hey, man, you can come on the coffee pod. You can tell your side of the story. Chances are he probably won't. You have children. He probably doesn't want to embarrass his kids more. He understands that the internet's forever, but you're somehow disappointed in the decision you have made already. She will regret this. She will regret it. Things don't fare out well. You are going to be a single mother now. It's about to get very, very real.
That's just like my ex. She thinking the grass is greener on the other side. I'm quite sure reality is kicking her in the backside right now. Because you had a good husband at home. You had a good husband that loved coming home. You had a husband that accepted your children as his own, didn't call them stepchildren. You had a husband that fixed you breakfast in bed. You had a husband that helped cleaned up around the house. You had a husband that sat up and waited for you when you come home from work. You had a husband that man ran your bath water, gave you massages, rubbed your feet for you, did little things here and there. Because I made a promise to God to love you for better, for worse, sickness and in health, richer for poor, until death do us part. I held up my end, but you didn't. You got to pay for that. Whatever God you serve, you and him need to have a conversation.
That's unfortunate.
Come to the realization that in a few months it's going to be over. But then I'm also thinking about, okay, if it takes like 3 or 4 months, that means that I could be single by Thanksgiving and y'all can invite me to y'all Thanksgivings and I can see y'all fine cousins and y'all fine homeboys. And then also I can have a real good Christmas because he going to give me a Christmas gift. And then my birthday is in January, so he probably going to get me a birthday gift too.
I ain't going to get you shit. She already planning. Nah, them holidays you going to be by your damn self.
And then by Valentine's Day, I could probably have a boyfriend. So, yeah.
The disrespect. After only 2 days, she said 2 days of no contact, right?
I reached out to my student after 2 days of no contact.
2 days of no contact. You're already talking about one of your followers. Oh, but she's joking. She should. No.
No, she ain't joking. But guess what? I would take it a step further. I would raise the bar. I would go no contact, period. And that's exactly what he did. The disrespect, how rude.
You're already talking about one of your followers possibly setting you up with a boyfriend and you're already ready to move on, give up the cheeks. It's just sad. It's just sad. And it's not going to end well at all. And they're happy to have you. They're going to accept you with open arms here in the comment section because all these women are also miserable. Top comment here says, I feel like we just found out about the husband last month. And she says, you should have never found out respectfully. All right. Somebody else who says, now that's my kind of math. Here's somebody else who says, okay, I see what you did here. Here's somebody else that says, this is how I spend my check before I get it. Somebody else here added, I like that timeline. And here's somebody else that says, LOL, girl math is crazy. I love us. Sending good vibes. Ha ha ha, we're so crazy. We just broke our family. Ha ha ha.
But you see, there's a reason why I'm playing it. and he's reading the comments. You see the toxicness, birds of a feather flop together. This is the so-called sisterhood. But yet, the sisterhood always has a way of hating on each other, disrespecting each other. But when you have a group of cackling ass hens, heifers, heathens, 99-cent mop bucket pirates, spider monkeys, okay, that sit up there, mammies, that sit up there and applaud this toxicness. They applaud it. They welcome it. They feed off of this. The validation, the likes, the views, the comments. Just so negative versus positive.
Ha ha. What's wrong with you? You're entering hell. Don't you realize the dating pool is crazy? You're not going to just fall into another relationship. I know you think that on the outside looking in, that there's somebody there who's going to meet what are most likely going to be unrealistic expectations, and it's going to get easier. It's never easier than the first time. Statistics say that the second divorce is more guaranteed than the first and the third. And it just gets harder as time goes on. But Chisha's...
Exactly. Because my ex, this was my first marriage, and this was her third. So you think about it. And you would have thought the second child, because the first two, she wasn't married to their father. They had a long time history together. But the third child, she was married to his father for a short time, divorced him. Right after that divorce, got with the daughter's father. That marriage didn't last long. Divorced him. Then he later passed away. Then there's me. So you look at these patterns. Okay? You look at these patterns. And it always goes back to our first conversation. And she said, men don't stay around long. Now I see why. Because of your ass. Because of your past. Because you haven't healed. You still carrying stuff.
There's some people remarry and they stay together. Yes, the exception does not make the rule. Right here, girl math. These chicks think this is cute. I love girl math. You know, they're talking about girl math. They're over here ruining households. Divorced 8 years now. Met the love of my life 2 years later. Remarried and approaching our 2-year wedding anniversary in August. It gets better. Actually, not for most people. In their relationships. Here's somebody else who says the emotions will be all over the place until about 5 years after the divorce. Damn, 5 years sounds like a bad time to me. Here's another person who says Capricorn energy. On to the next, clock it. Next comment he reads from one delusional friend.
The shame that I feel is uncomfortable, so I'm just going to say that you took advantage of me.
Wow.
Hell no.
That ain't right, yeah.
You know?
That's taking
because that
responsibility.
shit is common.
Yeah. It is.
That shit is very
That shit happened
common.
to me. And then
Talk your truth, baby.
Months later, the same thing tried to happen. I didn't say this, say that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like you said, I was butt skunk drunk. I don't know what you were on. You didn't seem that drunk. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and those kinds of allegations, like,
It's hella serious.
It's hella serious, bro. That shit with someone's life, career, reputation, everything.
Oh, yeah.
everything.
But see, a large number of women don't care about that because they're selfish. They don't care if they ruin a man's credibility. The relationship is ended. They broke up with them, or she breaks up with him and wants to make his life a living hell. So she fabricates allegations that didn't take place so she can have that last laugh. But what you do on the others will be done on you. It just ain't caught you yet.
And being someone who that happened to me when I was 13, like that's not something you play about. That shit has real repercussions. There's real scars there, real things that I've had to work through to overcome intimacy, to just overcome anxiety in parenting, like all kinds of shit. It's not just like, oh, I busted it open one night, I regret it now, to evade responsibility, I'm gonna whatever. Hell no.
And like you said, it's evading responsibility. The shame forces them to try to cope with it however they can.
Make themselves feel better in a way.
Yeah. She could have saved a man from being falsely accused there because she didn't co-sign that situation. Now, she didn't say what happened, like following everything that they talked about, but you guys heard the story. Woman messed with the guy, and she says she told her the details about how she enjoyed it, the experience and everything. And then a year later, once she meets another guy, feels shame, so on and so forth, thinks to herself, oh, I think the last guy raped me. Insanity. Insanity that you can change your mind a year later. That's wrong. And I think that's one of the things. There are many things that are discrediting the Me Too movement, but that's one of the things that discredit the Me Too movement is that there are women who will listen to that and think to themselves, she's in the right and should be able to change her mind.
Imagine if a man had did that. What the conversation would be like then. I would love to be a fly on the wall just to hear that. If a man had done that exact same thing. Because if I'm talking to a woman and she shares with me that, and she had the audacity to say some shit like that, in my mind, this is going to be the last time this bitch going to see me. Gonna be the last time. Hell no. Something wrong with her. Like for real. Ain't no way. No way.
Change her mind after going a year of looking at that situation and giving consent, not only to that man, but also to the women by saying, I enjoyed myself. It was good. Right? There are too many witnesses who heard her and probably wouldn't have let her get away with that.
It's too common than not nowadays too, because you see all these fucking cases and they're getting breaded out for all this shit. So like you said, the shame's too much. Let me get a bag. Let me go say this and say that. It's like, bro, why?
We talked about it in even a previous podcast. There was like NCAA athletes who've lost their professional career because of lies.
Yeah. And once again, same thing. Look at Zion. Lies by Mariah. But when you look at her, you can tell that bitch crazy. You can tell there's someone else inside her besides her. But look at the lies that she's spewing to make this man look bad publicly. All because he got with her. You didn't know that woman was crazy. You didn't know that woman was a fucking weirdo. No, you knew. You wanted them cheeks. Those ain't real cheeks. Those are fake cheeks. Those are implant cheeks. Her breasts aren't even real. They're implant. Her cheekbones ain't real. Implant. Lips ain't real. Implant. But you willing to die for this. You willing to go all the way with this. Look what happened. By messing with the wrong chick, you placed yourself in a uncompromising situation. Granted, it's wrong. Nobody should be fabricating stories on an individual. Whether it's a woman doing it to a man or a man doing it to the woman. Shit shouldn't take place in the first place. You have to learn to pick up your shoulder pads and your helmet and walk on.
Came back, the case was over too late. At that point, he's, 28, 29. He's
They don't want him no more. Or whatever it may be.
They don't want him no more.
Yeah.
He had to do time that he didn't even, for something he didn't do.
Or even the Weinstein shit, right? That was like have you guys gone down the rabbit hole with that?
Not deep. But
okay, so.
That one's a crazy one. And I saw that they recently actually decided to, I don't want to give any false information. Let me ask Ms. Coffey. Ms. Coffey, real quick, when it comes to Weinstein, did they recently label that case a mistrial?
Latest on the Weinstein case, June 2025. A judge in Manhattan declared a mistrial on the rape charge in Harvey Weinstein's retrial on June 12, 2025, after the jury foreperson refused to continue deliberations amid tension.
Okay, right. That's a crazy rabbit hole, and Candace Owens is the person who was covering that, right?
You already know right then and there. Man, just got off. Just sealed that case. So anybody that was involved in that, guess what? They would not be prosecuted. Case is sealed and done. See how that works? But I want to thank each and every individual for chiming in. I appreciate the love. First time going on Twitch. I'm loving it and looking forward to doing more live stream on Twitch. Looking forward to doing more live stream on YouTube. Looking forward to doing more live stream on Rumble. Just interacting with everyone. I got the live chats up. You can chat. You can message me. I'll answer back any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Please voice that in the comment section. And man, we just gonna have a blast with it. Conversation and Reviews, King's Table. It's your boy.